Hello and welcome to Bangers Bricks. This week we're going to look at yet another new company that I haven't covered here before. This is the first time I've bought from them, so it'll be an interesting experience. Uh, Again, spoiler alert, but there were a few highs and a few lows with this, so I'll go through all of those and let you know what I think of the set and the company. So yeah, straight on into it. So this is the Pantasy 85045 Prague Astronomical Clock set. It has 2,441 pieces. There are lots of lights, a motor, no stickers, but a fair few prints, printed instructions, and it cost me £99, which is approximately $130. I bought it directly from the Pantasy website. As always, this is not sponsored. This was a set bought by me. And so here we have the set from the front. Now, I do have to make an admission at this point because I think it's rather important when viewing this set. There were some issues with the cabling, which one of the cables broke completely and one seems to have been stripped, which means that there aren't any lights where they should be on the top half of the building, and there is a missing light just here that should be lit up like the right hand side. I don't think that light makes much of a difference, but obviously the one on top does. It was the linking piece between floors that came apart. I'll show that in a minute, but yes, perhaps I was being a bit too rough with it, but I don't think I was. Obviously, I've bought lots of these sets before, and that's the first time that has happened. Although I think the tolerances are just a bit too tight on the pieces that connect for the power to go through and could do with loosening up. They don't need to be hold on to each other quite so tightly. But this is what the set looks like. I love the amount of movement in here. Obviously, we have the bottom dial spinning, the top dial, and then if you look through the windows above the second dial, you can see all different star signs rotating. There's two bits that rotate there, which I'll show close up in a minute. I think the design is beautiful. It's what attracted me to the set in the first place. I love the colours on it. The gold is proper gold. So this type, which is all shiny and metallic, rather than this type, which comes on a lot of sets. So I think it stands out, especially with the blues. The set itself is on a half plate, you can see, and is clearly designed to be put into a modular city and connected. There are connectors provided with the sides. I know it's a strange bugbear, but it is disappointing with these sets that do have lights that all of the lights aren't real. So these street lights here don't have any power. They are just brick-built street lights. But it does seem a bit of a shame considering everything else is lit up. I like the different statues that you can see on here. I think look very impressive. Straighten that up. From the ones on the side to the brick-built almost angel in the middle. You can see here an awful lot of prints, which is very nice. It would have been a right pain to try and put these on with stickers. The sides are nicely detailed too, with work put into these. It's not just bare brick. And the other side is exactly the same here, although with slightly different shields put here. But there's nice detail from either the types of bricks used or these frames that they've put around some of the windows. The back, however, is incredibly plain, with just a hole to put the power through, although that's not really too much of an issue, to be honest. The back does open up fully, which gets us a proper look inside the set. In order to see the ground floor, then you need to lift the top off. This top also does come off here. And you can see the wires hanging off that should be connected and clearly aren't. Taking the top off just to see more detail. I love this telescope here, incredibly detailed. There's some lovely detailing on the front shelves and desks, a little ladder going up to the spinning there. Most of the front of the set is taken up with the mechanisms for all the rotation, so there isn't actually much room on this first floor or second floor in America. You can see just through the back there some of the Technic pieces which are used to hold all of the spinning mechanisms. Still, they've done a good job of actually putting some effort into this part, which I do think is really nice. It really does help, and yeah, adds a lot of character. So here's the view looking down into the ground floor of the building, and again, there's a fantastic amount of detail. There's this fabulous gold orrery here, which looks really, really nice. Again, printed tiles all around, including on the astrological scroll. Little details like the uh, magnifying glass on the desk, and a really nice bookcase. I'll show that from a different angle in a second. Just, yeah, a lot of character with then the staircase coming up. The bottom of the top piece has the banisters going down into this piece, so they do have a habit of falling off a little bit, but again, that's to be expected. I like that they've put a bit of effort into the floor pattern. It isn't just a simple, uh, just flat square floor. They've put a bit of detail in the middle. It's very nice, and you can see here the part of the mechanism for the spinning on the front. But you can see a bit more here of what I was saying about the cable management. It's mainly done with normal bricks. There are a couple of specialized bricks, but generally it's done with normal bricks, which does limit the ability to really keep those pieces all neat and tidy. They also seem to use a lot of the same one light on a wire, which is why you can see you need a lot of these junction boxes, which Lumibricks do use, but they have only normally one of those and multiple lights on each wire. Whereas with this one, I think there's only one set of lights that has two lights on the wire. Otherwise, it's lots of single lights, which again, I think increases the amount of cabling. You can see here, this is the piece that I was referring to earlier, that I think either these pegs are a little too big or the holes are a little too small on the appropriate receiving piece on the upper floors, and they hold on a bit too tight, so that actually pulls the the top plate off the bottom of the other floor. And that's what happened when I picked it up. And because the wires are so flimsy, then just one of the wires came off its solder. I did attempt to fix it myself, and that is pretty much disastrous. If I just show the top floor, you can see what I mean. That I did a bit of damage to the actual piece and managed to slightly melt it. But you can see there how that little wire's come off. So I did make an attempt to fix it, but unfortunately not a very successful one. So here's a bit of an angled view just to show you more of what I was talking about in here and the different prints. You can see all of the detail. I do think looks very nice. And this is the top floor, which would have a very nice chandelier on the inside with some pretty lights, but unfortunately, obviously not. I really do appreciate this glass dome on the top, though, with all of the constellations on it. I think that's really nice touch and a really nice print, and some lovely brick built here. It kind of reminds me of Parisian style rooftops, to be honest. But I think it looks very good. So here we have the characters that come with this set. There are just two, and they are very different from both the Lego brand minifigures and the Lumibrix ones, which we've seen before. These are much more super deformed bobblehead type dolls, almost more like possibly the Lego Friends sets rather than the normal mini brick ones. I do think they're nicely detailed with prints on both the torso and the legs, and nice styled hair pieces. They do come in two variants. Each one can be put in a sitting pose like this, and they have separate sitting legs um, rather than the standing ones. This is to get around the issue that happens with the Lumibrix ones of trying to fit them into seats, either in cars or in the buildings, because they need a hole on the bottom. These ones have separate ones with a hole on the bottom, which you can see here. I've just popped a peg in to allow it to sit, whereas this one obviously does not have any holes in the back. I think these are great for what they are. As always, you can decide what you want to do with these sets, whether you want to use the figures or not, or buy your own minifigs from Lego and put them in instead. Um, it's up to you, but I think they're a nice addition, and I'm glad that they do put these in here because it does add to how the display looks and how playable it is. So, to answer a few questions as to what you get in the box, for a start, it's a very nice box, reasonably solid. Not quite as solid as Lumibrix, but definitely more solid than the ones that I've been getting from Lego recently. You get nice printed manuals, two in this case, numbered bags. As with Lumibrix, then multiple of the same number, which means you've got to hunt through all of them to try and find. Bit of a pain, but hardly the worst thing in the world. And then you get all the electronics in one of these little pouches. So there's four of those pouches, depending on the electronics bits you need. You also get the ubiquitous piece separator, distinct from anyone else's, but does the same jobs. The instructions themselves are nicely detailed. I didn't have any issues with following these. I think they're very clear and concise. Yeah, they're definitely good. Lots of instructions to show the difference between pieces so you don't use the wrong bit. So, or the wire to go in the wrong direction, as in this case. But yes, can't fault all the pieces that came with the set. So, to wrap up my conclusions about this set and whether I'd recommend it, I think it's an amazing looking set. I love the details, and there are a lot of them all throughout. I really like that it has what I'd call proper gold pieces rather than the fake goldy pieces that we see all too often. It's really, really nice. I think it does make it stand out, makes it so much brighter. I love the design of it. Um, the motorized aspects are excellent. There's a lot more motion than you'd think, with not just the two spinning dials, but the bits in the inside as well. Um, I like that it can be separated, and so you can gain access to all of them. Yeah, and it is a lovely, lovely set. But there are definite downsides. Not all of them unique to Pantasy here. Some I have encountered before, like the tightness of the pieces that link the power between the floors. That has been a problem on Lumibrix sets as well, although this is the first time that one of the wires has actually snapped on me. And the other wire, I'm not sure if that was my fault or whether it came like that, but obviously one of the lights doesn't work there. I do think that the light fittings in this one, the cables and everything, are a bit more flimsy than the Lumibrix ones. They certainly felt that way. They felt a lot more delicate. It doesn't have as many specialized pieces that Lumibricks has, which does make some of the cable management a bit untidy and potential for pinching or problems there. Um, it's difficult to think of how the whole thing will look overall when, yeah, obviously it's not working at the moment. I have requested replacements for the two missing problematic pieces, um, but I've yet to find out what happens with that. I will do an update later to see how good the customer service is for Pantasy. It was been excellent with Lumibrick, so hopefully it will be similar here. So yeah, I may have just been really, really unlucky with the pieces that I had and being a bit too forceful perhaps when separating some of the layers, but you still wouldn't expect the wires to snap like that. So yeah, your mileage may vary, but I certainly think for the money it is excellent value, and hopefully the issues are very easily fixed, and it doesn't stop it from being a very pretty set. I'm not quite sure how much play it has because obviously a lot of the inside is taken up with the mechanisms for the movement. But I guess at the end of the day, it is meant for probably a bit more display than for play. But yeah, it is an excellent set, and I wouldn't let the experience that I've had with the issues put me off, and I certainly wouldn't want to put anyone else off looking to pick up one of these sets yourselves. So yeah, I would recommend it, but just take care, especially when separating the floors. So thank you for joining us again this week on Bangers Bricks. As always, if you'd like to support the channel, then please do like and subscribe. It really does help. And I hopefully will see you next week.